They happen to have that same faith and religious belief. So I have learned not to do this. One time I had, probably about 16 Jewish students in, and very conservative Jewish group. And they were very delightful, and I spent about 45 minutes with them and laid it on the line, exactly what our policy would be. Friendship and trade, but no support and no weapons, and the whole works. And it pleased me so much because it's the first time I ever talked to a group of students in my office that when we got up to leave, they applauded. And, a few students in your office don't get up and applaud. So this foreign policy, it's open, it's failing, so people are looking at this. And we do reach the minorities. Hispanics and the blacks, they don't like this war. They always suffer more. And I talk to these young people and talk about the possible coming of the draft. And even today, what happened today? Has anybody had enough time to watch the markets today? Well, I think Lou was talking, his speech was on the value of the dollar related to foreign policy. And today was a pretty good example. So they opened up this morning, and I think gold was down its usual $5 or so, and the dollar was up a little bit, and the markets pre-opening was sort of flat. And then some bad statistics come out, the market went down. But then there was an announcement by a high official in Israel that flat out said it looks like it's going to be necessary for us to bomb Iran. Very, very clear, hostile declaration, and that started it off. The dollar reversed, was down significantly. Gold was up $25. The market, last time I looked, was down 300 points. And foreign policy. I don't know if anybody remembers this, but in the debates, Tim Russert was in charge of one of the debates, and he sort of made an announcement at the beginning. And he said, foreign policy has been the top issue, but now it has changed. They finally figured out there was a recession going on. I remember in Michigan, I was the one, they were always saying none of the Republicans could say that the economy was weak, because that would be Republican fault because it's the administration. So he said, now it's the economy, it's not foreign policy that is the important issue. But later on, I got my chance to sort of dig at him a little bit. I said, you can't talk about the economy, without talking about foreign policy. I mean, they're connected. And that, of course, reminded me of what motivated me to get involved in politics, and that was the guns and butters of the 60s, me being drafted in 1962, spending eventually 5 years in the Air Force, active duty and on reserve duty. But guns and butter, the introduction of the Medicaid system, massive increase in expenditures here at home, and never holding back on the military-industrial complex and say, don't sweat it, we can handle it. And, that was what led to the breakdown of Bretton Woods, and that led to stagflation, a serious decade that we have. And we're doing the same thing again, but probably worse. Yeah, not as many of our men are being killed, but we have so many tragic injuries and sickness, hundreds of thousands. Our veterans' hospitals are flooded, and so many people waiting for care. Suicide rates higher than ever. Our troops spread around the world. The morale is down, and now we have to pay for guns and butter. But this time, we're much poorer. We are in big debt. Bigger debt than ever before. What we owe foreigners, our national debt, the entitlement obligation. And this is one of the issues that I could get young people to look at carefully. You're getting stuck with a war, and you're getting stuck with a lot of debt and a bad economy. And no matter where I went on the campuses, I said, we can get ourselves out of this, and I believe we can. I'm not optimistic we will shortly, but we could. And that is, take upon ourselves the whole principle of the foreign policy of interventionism. $1 trillion we spend a year to maintain over 700 bases in 130 countries. And there's room there. And I argue, not exactly the perfect libertarian position, but I argue, don't cut medical care. Don't cut any benefits at home. Quit blowing up bridges in Iraq and rebuilding bridges in Iraq. Build bridges here at home before you do that. And I said, you can save this money, and young people, we ought to offer you a chance to get out of the system. Take care of your medical benefits and get out of Social Security. They understand it, and they know that they'll do it. And young people were very receptive to the idea of self-reliance and making their own decisions. And when I talked to them about making their own decisions about their personal life, and how did it ever come that we have allowed our government to deal with our personal lives, what we ingest in our bodies, our drugs and food and everything else. At the same time, we still, to a degree, allow most of us to ingest what we put into our brain and into our soul. But all of a sudden, somewhere along the way, we decided that the government was going to tell you what to do with your life and what to do with your money. And they responded very well to the whole idea that we need to put freedom back together again. We need to take that group of people who think they're better on defending economic liberty, and even those who claim aren't very good, and others who say, yes, I'll defend personal liberty and personal social choices. And this is one issue. This is one thing, because you have a natural, God-given right to your life and to your liberty, and it's up to you how to spend your life, and you have a right to spend the money, the fruits of your labor, and it's up to you. And the young people are responding. The biggest challenge our movement has today, between now and the election, is whether or not we can peel off some of that youth support for Obama. Because he has the same appeal, something new and different, but no specifics. No specifics whatsoever. And of course, those lack of specifics that he has will never be pointed out by McCain, because he endorses everything, that that Obama supports. It's just a matter of phrasing it and who's going to get the power and all that. So, as I say, there's reason to be optimistic. There is so much enthusiasm there. The work has been done. The remnant is larger, but the young people are joining. And so instead of being discouraged, what we need to do is be really encouraged. Some people say, well, yeah, you should be encouraged and you should still be doing this and you should still be running on third party and all that. Nope, it's something else. There's going to be other things. We're going to have a grand rally and a celebration on what we did on September 2nd up in Minneapolis, and we're not going to crash their party, but we may well have a bigger party than they had up there. So, we can creep along. There'll be a few of us and hundreds and maybe thousands, but now we have millions. We literally have millions. In this primary, we got people in the roughest primary you could talk about to take on the warmongers and have people vote in a Republican primary and get essentially 1.2 million voters to commit in a Republican primary. But I'm convinced also that for everyone there are 2 or 3 or 4. If we have 1 solid million there, we may have 3. And like I said, we all know we can't count them. But we might have 3 or 4 or 5 million people out there. And when I go through the airports, let me tell you, they don't look like Republicans. They're bag hops. And at one time, I've never had my shoes shined at the airport. But now the shoe shine guys are always waving to me and cheering me on. But the other one that is so strange, and I feel guilty about this, and that is because I voted against the TSA, And, but you know what? There are people,